What is happening, beautiful people? We are back. In case you missed it, I am Paul Chin, and I am responding to your DMs about my leaked music. Who leaked it, you might ask? I did. I got a new EP coming, and I don't really understand how music, media, or journalism or promotion is working for independent artists and labels these days, so I decided to go directly to the people, which is you. And I made a deal with the internet stating that if anyone sends me a DM asking to hear the music, I will send it to them. I will send it to them and they can listen to it for free, but they have to do one thing. Ask me 3 questions, 3 interview questions about it after they've listened. That's the whole deal. And I'm doing this until the music comes out formally. So here we go again. I've already answered a few questions in previous videos. You can go look those up, but we've got some more to get through today, so let's dive right into it. Maya asks, tell me about the cultural influences. The titling of Tao of Palm, Way of the Fist, and some of the layered sounds on Way of the Fist take clear inspiration from Asian traditions. Then there's the Caribbean references and language in Tao of Palm, etc. Good ear. Again, I think the way that those 2 tracks came together in terms of how they're packaged or how I've been able to present them now that they're complete definitely came from both of those references, right? Like, I'm Chinese Jamaican, and I personally think that's literally the coolest thing about me, but I also have so few ways to express that because the experience of being mixed is not something that we in the Western world have a great deal of language or shared vocabulary around that experience and what that is like culturally. But over in Asia, it's very common, right? Like it's not a thing of like, oh, you're one of these things, or you're like this race, or you're that race, you're this ethnicity or that ethnicity. You're actually like a secret third thing, right? So I've been, just in my own life, been, reading up on that a bit more, hearing about other people's experiences with Hafu or Hapa or various other kind of localized forms of expressing that and presenting that culture. And I think that obviously bled into how I approached this track. So Tao of Palm, it's named after Tao, which is basically just a way of being. And then of course Way of the Fist, Bruce Lee martial arts reference, right? And in addition to the obvious kind of you got a palm open and you got a fist closed, that whole element of it all, I also just very much wanted to at least bring in sonically this sense of I'm both of these guys. I'm moving through the world as both of these guys simultaneously. The guy who's very open, very available to friendship, very thankful and grateful and just enamored by friendship and relationships, but also a guy who's ready to square up because I won't be taken advantage of because I care. Yeah, that's how that came together. Thirsty Villain asks, how do you balance the different styles of music you bring in when you're producing? I wish I had a better answer for this, but I really don't know. And I think all I can really say about this is that I just try to play in spaces that I know, right? I try to play with music that I know and understand, deeply know and understand and love. And if there's something that I want to do that I recognize that I don't know, then I study it. I study it more. I listen to it a lot. I come to understand it. I read up on it. I try to understand where it came from, what was going on at the time when other people were developing what would go on to become these well understood conventions of certain genres or styles or traditions or sounds. And then I just file that away in the database. And then when it's time to sit down and make music, I'm just pulling from the database because I understand that music. And when you understand music, you can also recognize the similarities, the differences, the commonalities. And I did actually think about trying to, develop this idea into a podcast or an interview show with other music people, wherein I just really wanted to talk about what's going on in certain songs or in certain beats or tracks that I really, really love, and try to break down where this comes from and where you've heard it before. On a simple level, that's kind of easy to do, or at least to start with any song you want to analyze, because for the most part, most popular music is in 4/4 time. So you're simply figuring out what are tempos, what are the common tempos that you'll hear in certain styles of music. And then chords or melodies or progressions or things like that are also fairly easy to draw lines between, because Western music anyway basically just uses a 12-note scale, and within that 12-note scale, chords just sort of work the same way, and you can figure out what keys share certain notes, and therefore that's how you arrive at interesting chord progressions or interesting voicings of things. And if I had to break it down, if I really had to like think about all of what's going on, this would be a 40-minute answer. But I don't actually think about what's going on because I just know it. It's just instinctive. It's so deep in there that it just comes out without thinking. Sorry, I wish I had a better answer for that. Blurst Heretic asks, while I know this isn't the same genre at all, my first thought was, holy shit, this is like Imogen Heap levels of interesting layers. Do you experiment with different types of sounds one at a time and figure out how to pancake them on top of each other? Or do you throw a bunch together all at once? That might be more of a generic music comp question, but I was like, so many different sounds strung together like beads on a necklace. Yeah, again, kind of going back to Thirsty Villain's question, I guess that's what's happening. I am throwing them together. There's not really a formalized process for me. I work in Ableton Live, which, if you know anything about music software or music DAWs, Ableton is kind of an instrument that has a DAW built into it, in that you really can use it to play. Like, as you're recording things and composing loops and clips and all of that, you can then also use the software itself to play or perform, rather than just sort of like putting things down into an arrangement off rip. And so yeah, the way that I like to write music and like to compose, I'll just put a bunch of stuff down. And it's usually stuff that I have a clear idea of what sounds good together or what sounds I want to use. I'm not thinking about them in terms of categorizing, all right, here are my Asian influences that I want to pull from, here are my pop influences, my hip hop, my drum and bass, whatever. Like, I don't think about it like that. I just know I've picked this tempo, I've started with something that's in this key, everything else will just follow the immediate thing that I did before that. Then I'll just like pop everything down and I'll layer it all into different tracks and clips, and then I'll just play everything all together. Music making is just almost like collaging. It's like layering things. And as I'm listening to it, as I play, I'm taking things out or hearing other things that I would also add to support what's already down there. Just almost like mixing and matching until I land on, this feels like the fullest part of the song, and then arrange it outwards, like middle to the front, middle to the back from there. Finally, we got another one from Azza. Thank you, Azza. Where do you feel your sound has evolved in this project? Let's see. I think that the thing that has been affected the most is my songwriting, like my pen. I like writing songs. I like contributing to things that other people are working on, but I also like writing my own stuff and just getting my own feelings or sentiments or concepts out into the world, like out of my head and into the world. And I think writing things as explicitly as I maybe ever have has been a huge undertaking. Like, it's been a huge challenge to be able to write this much about more or less like one idea. So that's really evolved, and I think that's like a technical thing that I've gotten better at, but the way in which it's affected my sound is that I'm now using my voice as another instrument in my arsenal. People who know my music or who have listened to my music or followed my career for a while know that there's certain instruments that I gravitate to and I use again and again, and that's intentional. For years I've been building up a palette, right? Like, I have a folder full of instruments or sounds or presets that I use and I like, and then I'll stash them to come back to them again later. And the same goes for this. Yeah, now my voice has also become one of those, because I've also worked at getting better at songwriting and really just had that constraint for myself that I had to be getting these bars off. I had to be rapping, I had to be singing, I had to be writing the grooves and gliding over these pockets that I was making for myself as a producer. Am I going to continue doing this? I don't know. Maybe. if it calls for it. That's really where I think my sound has evolved, in that, yeah, now I can be like I hate to say it like this, but like I can be a fuller artist. I can be a full-fledged artist, because unfortunately, people do not consider producers artists, which I hate, because I love making instrumental music, and I wish people would I wish people would buy it from me. But that's just where we are now. I have one more thing that I can do, because I've proven that I can do it at scale now, to a degree. So yeah. All right, that's it for this video. Thank you for all your questions. Please keep them coming. I have plenty more, but I will do this as long as you keep asking. As long as you keep sending me questions about this music, about my EP Professional, I will answer them, because I don't know, the whole point of this is to get the ideas in front of people who care, in front of people who hear the music and are affected by it in some way. So yeah, thanks again for all your questions. Thank you to everybody who sent in questions that were read out this episode. Thank you to everybody who has sent in questions that I'm still working on answers for. We'll do another one of these soon. I'm just really gonna turn them out as quickly as I can and keep putting these videos out as frequently as I can until the music comes out. So yeah, if you would like to hear Professional, send me a DM on Instagram or Blue Sky, or send an email to the Sanzu Group email address. All of that stuff will be linked below in the description. Share with your friends. Like and subscribe. Let's build some intrigue around this project. The only people who've heard this music are the people who are asking questions. And of course, I'm glad that you all are hearing the music and enjoying it. But, you know, I also am doing this because when the time comes, I also want other people who are not asking me questions to listen to the music. Please do all of that. It really helps. Follow me on Bandcamp. Follow Sanzu Group. And yeah, we'll talk again soon.